Now to the latest on the war between Israel and Hamas. According to Gaza's health ministry, the IDF is targeting one of the last functioning hospitals in northern Gaza, setting fire to the building after allegedly receiving reports of Hamas activity inside. This all comes as ceasefire talks face significant delays, despite previous reports of some progress. For more on all of this, I want to turn over to NBC News correspondent Hala Gorani, who joins us now from Beirut, Lebanon. Hala, what else do we know about the patients and the staff inside of that hospital? And in terms of options for medical care for people in the Gaza Strip, it has been limited for quite a while now, but this surely doesn't make the situation any easier for people there.
Well, Ellison, Kamal Adwan was really the last remaining functioning medical complex in the north, and it was forcibly evacuated, we understand, this morning at 7 a.m. local time in Gaza when the Israeli military stormed the hospital and forced the evacuation of staff as well as patients. This is according to sources in Gaza and based on footage shot by our teams inside of the besieged enclave. Well, you can imagine that evacuation of a hospital complex like that one in a war zone as it is being stormed is incredibly difficult and challenging and potentially deadly, with patients on ventilators, for example. Some of the medical staff were arrested. We saw images of them being marched out, stripped as well. And one of the journalists, Ellison, covering the attack on the hospital itself was also arrested. And we saw a lot of smoke and images posted online rising from the building in the vicinity of the medical complex. Where these patients are going is unclear. There are some reports they were taken to the Indonesian hospital, but that hospital, too, is almost all but completely incapacitated and unable to care for patients, Ellison.
Hala, what have we heard from the IDF about this? And also, has there been any reaction from the international community or nonprofit groups?
We've heard from countries, for example, Jordan has said that it had called the storming of Kamal Adwan a heinous war crime. The IDF is saying, as it has really over the last year plus, that it is targeting these medical facilities because it is claiming that terrorist activity is taking place there. As far as Kamal Adwan is concerned, it is calling it a terrorist infrastructure site. Now, we've reported over the last year plus on IDF attacks on some of these medical facilities, and some of the evidence provided included photos of arms kind of laid out and things like that, but nothing that us as journalists can say with any kind of certainty point to the existence of, say, tunnels or a terrorist infrastructure or some sort of command center. So this is not something that journalists have been able to see. And the IDF says that it will facilitate the evacuation of patients to other hospitals, but so far we have not seen evidence of that either, Ellison.
Hala, there is constantly this discussion about ceasefire and whether or not talks will progress, whether or not some sort of agreement could be made. Any indication that there is meaningful progress and that we are possibly inching towards some sort of ceasefire in the future?
So unfortunately, the short answer is no, because as you mentioned in the intro, Benjamin Netanyahu had told the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, that there had been, quote, some progress toward a deal. But then both sides started accusing each other of putting up obstacles and roadblocks. Hamas, for example, is saying that Israel is reneging on some of its promises to withdraw militarily from the Gaza Strip. But then we saw the Israeli defense minister at the Philadelphia corridor site, which is that narrow strip of land between Gaza and Egypt, saying that Israel will maintain full security control of the strip. Israel is saying that Hamas is backing out on some of the promises it made. It could be with regards to the release of hostages. We know that a first phase would include the release of 40 live Israeli hostages. So right now it doesn't seem as though the two sides are reaching an agreement on getting a deal done, Ellison.
Hala Gorani, great reporting as always. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.